So here it is, the J67, or is it 68 or 69, Buckjumper. I've got the LNER lined black version. Obviously this is from Accurascale, and I have to say it is a really beautiful locomotive, and probably one, well, along with my Hatton's P-Class, I'd say the best looking small locomotives I've got by a long way. And this one is a beautiful runner, and really I could not praise it higher. It is a super model. Let's get it going. Oh, let's make it go the right way. So let's just watch it running slowly on my Gauge Master controller. Oh, it has stalled. I think I was trying a bit too slowly. It's a bit noisy on that bit of track because it's direct on chipboard and properly ballasted. And that's a very noisy bit of track. Now that's as slow as I ever like to go with my trains when I'm shunting, I'd say. So I'm happy with the slow speed performance. Now watch it with a feedback controller. It's quite a lot more jerky. You can see it stuttering quite a bit. And this is quite unusual. I've only got one other locomotive that does this, and that's the J70 tram engine. They don't seem to like the feedback controllers, and I can only assume it has a coreless motor, because I think coreless motors don't like feedback controllers. It doesn't mention this anywhere in the instructions for the locomotive. It talks about not using it with very old style H&M clipper type controllers. Well, I've got one of those, but I don't use it for mainline running. And actually my outer loop and my branch line both run on a feedback controller. So that's a bit disappointing. It's fine on the inner track, but I really would like it on the outer loop and on the branch line. Now I'm also very fortunate that I've got the Great Eastern liveried version. This locomotive though doesn't run so well even on a normal controller, and it also derails rather a lot, which is something that I've certainly never come across before with such a short wheelbase 060 locomotive, so I'm a bit puzzled by that. I'll get it going, and hopefully there shouldn't be any derailments because it seems to be better going backwards. So here's the Great Eastern colour scheme. it's ultramarine blue apparently, and people have criticised the colour as being a bit too bright. It actually looks brighter on the video screen that I'm looking at now than it does in reality. I think it's a bit misleading how brightly it's coming out on the screen. People have said it's too bright, but I don't know how many people can remember what the original colour was. After all, the Great Eastern Railway ceased to be over 100 years ago, so anyone who actually saw that colour firsthand, I think in fact the blue livery probably died out before the First World War, I think. So there's no one alive today, I don't think, who will remember the actual colour of this livery. And if you look at any old photographs, if there are any colour photographs, very unlikely from that time, it would have looked much darker than this, because colour film wasn't very accurate in those days. Anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful machine, but it doesn't run quite as well as the other. And as I've said, it sometimes derails. And I'm a bit baffled about why, because I've got far longer wheelbase locomotives, 060s and 8-coupled locomotives as well, 280s, 282, that sort of thing. And they don't derail. So why should a humble little 060 with a relatively short wheelbase derail? And I haven't quite worked out the problem yet. It may be there's just a bit of rigidity in the chassis that shouldn't really be there. I'm just going to try a bit of slow speed work with it now. Zoom out a bit, and hopefully we'll get it to run smoothly. And couple it up to its coaches. Right, there we go, and set off in the other direction. Now it's stalled again, a little bit of a hesitation there. It also stalls on my Y points just beyond this bridge. I'll speed it up a bit. Oh, it stalled, yeah. And that's unusual. It's an Electrofrog Y points. Now an 060 should be collecting up from all 6 wheels, so I think it's not actually collecting electricity from all 6 wheels, and I may have to look at the pickups there. Someone else commented that it doesn't have wiper pickups, and the pickups are actually through the axles, and it has a split chassis, which is not my idea of a great arrangement. So there we go. It performed well this time. It didn't derail once. I've done about 5 laps of my circuit while I've been filming, and yeah, it's behaved itself. But it did not behave itself when I was trying to run it in, and that might be something to look out for. I have a feeling it may be due to a lack of lateral movement, sideways movement in the axles of the driving wheels. I have slightly adjusted them now. I've lubricated them a bit so that they move from side to side slightly better. I had a similar problem with a Helljan Tango a few years back, and lubricating the axles helped them to move sideways, and that allowed it to go round curves without derailing. Although that was a 280, so that had a much longer wheelbase than this thing. But it seems to be loosening up now, and that's one of the benefits of running in. But of course, if something keeps derailing, it's difficult to run it in. Anyway, it seems to have calmed down now, so fingers crossed it'll be good from now on. Anyway, these are 2 super little locomotives, absolutely stunning. Though I'm a bit of a fan of Buckjumpers, and I've got a couple of the older models that were made from the old Wills Finecast kit. And in each case, I'm no expert at making chassis, so I bought one as just a body kit anyway, and I stuck it on a Terrier chassis. the Terrier wheelbase is shorter. It's a good few feet shorter, so it doesn't look perfect. But they run quite well. In fact, they run very well. Almost, but not quite as smoothly as these do. But they will also run well with a feedback controller, whereas these two chaps, as I say, they don't like a feedback controller, which means I'm going to have to, rewire my layout a bit so that I've got just conventional modern controllers on all my loops, and maybe switch in and out between feedback for some locomotives that prefer the feedback controller. Just a little problem that I have to sort out. No major issues there, but lovely little locomotives and worth the wait in my opinion. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. Cheerio for now. And not only had I switched off the camera and set it going on another lap around the track, and it's derailed. And it really is a strange place to derail. It is on a second radius curve, which these things should be able to cope with. I mean, my mainline Bachmann J72, which has got an almost identical wheelbase, copes with first radius curves without any difficulty. So this should be able to cope with second radius. And I can't quite work out why it is derailing there. It may well be I need to relay my track. I have been thinking about this to try and extend the length of my fiddle yard, but I may have to fiddle around here with my track and relay it a bit, because I really don't want derailments all the time. It is probably a 50-50, bit of track problem, bit of locomotive problem. But as my other locomotives run fine around here, I think it's more to do with the Accurascale model, I'm afraid, which is slightly frustrating. Okay, well, I said bye once. Hope you have a good time with your railway modelling. Cheerio, and see you again soon.